Hello and welcome to Train Sympietic, and we're back up in Sympietic today. Today's going to be the fault finding video, trying to work out what's going on with the electrics on my layout. So the plan is, after the titles, we're going to go through each part of the system, trying to work out where about the problem is, looking at common problems and showing the best ways to resolve the issue. The sound might be different to normal as I'm using a shotgun mic rather than my normal lapel mic, because moving the camera around it will just be easier to use as a shotgun. It will give me less cables trailing. So let's start with the titles and then we can start with the problem solving. A good way to try to sort out your problems is to make a list. First thing is look at anything you just did before you had the problem, as there's a good chance that that might cause the problem. Then after that you look at first, if you can break the system down into pieces easily, break it down into the appropriate places so that you can then start to isolate where the problem is. So the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the track from the e-course and make sure that the problem isn't there. Then I'm going to remove all the trains off the track, as sometimes trains just pick stuff up and cause you problems. So that's the next stage. After that it will then be going through each stage of the wiring, double checking every single point, make sure that there aren't any problems there, and then just gradually start from one side working through. So let's start off at the e-course. This is my controller, and if I turn on the power it's not showing a short circuit. Therefore that's saying to me that the short circuit system is detecting everything properly. So it also say to me that the problem is further through, and I might have found where the problem is. Sorry for the dodgy camera work here, but if you notice, the third block detection is showing a different, no, the third short circuit protection have got different lights to everything else. So that say to me that that's where about the problem is, and that's feeding main line 1. So I'm going to see what happened if I disconnect that. So I've now unplugged just about everything and it has stopped flashing. That one got no lights on, the rest got a lower red light on. So I'm thinking that there might be a problem with the complete board. It's now the next day and I've done a lot more fault finding. So I have narrowed it down to block detection ML2, which is mainline 2, which is basically from the end of the fiddling yard up to halfway through the station. But I think I got one track on the fiddling yard which is powered by it, and it's one of my newest tracks. So I think what we'll do is have a look at what is actually on the detector, so we can work out whereabout the problem is. So I've moved most of the trains off. I've got one train left to move. Then after that we'll then be looking at all the points, but I know that it's not my main fiddling yard, but I think it's a point at the end of the main fiddling yard. So we're doing well and getting there. After about 4 hours on and off of gradually eliminating problems, I have finally got the track working again. You can hear that if I actually select a train. So there we go, there's a train heating. So I'll go through ways to check for faults depending on the size of your layout. So you might take some shortcuts as you go through. So the first thing to do is always look at the last thing you've done, as that can be, you might have made a silly mistake. Once you have eliminated what you have done, or it's a sudden problem that appears, then you need to break down the problems. Ideal world, you would put section switches in, which is something I do in any future layouts. So for me, I first of all made sure that my command system, which is at ECOS, make sure that that was giving a signal without any problems. As that was working, I then went to the next layer, which was a for short circuit detectors, and I completely misunderstood them. So I should have this instruction sheet here. I'll open up the page with a picture. So this is a diagram of PSX-1. For PSX-1-2-3-4 are all the same units, just more connected, which you can separate. So I was seeing that LED there on one, and then that on the others. That means everything's fine. That means a short circuit. Also, I made a big mistake with these. I never programmed them up, as I didn't realise that they can be run plug and play, but they're RCVs you can change. So this next version of the layout, if I ever have one, I'm going to be doing upgrades to this, so I have lights coming out and a buzzer, so that I can trace a problem easier. So I'll then have another layer of switches. So you have the controller, a switch, so that you can tell if it's a controller or further up. Then from each short circuit detector, I'll have another switch so that I can easily turn off that section. Then from that, it ran into my block detections. As I have everything labelled up, I could tell that it was BL2 which was causing the problem. But I still don't know which one of the 16 outputs it is. But I know it was on the black line, which is the outside track. So that eliminated it down to 16 tracks. So the next thing I did, I went to the ECOS. I'll now move you around so that you can see the ECOS, and I can walk you through the next bit I did. So this is my controller. Turn the track on. I went into the track diagram, pressed the spanner icon, which is that one there, pressed I, and then I was working out which track that was. So that's a mainline port 14. By doing that, I could then eliminate which bits of track were not connected. So there's quite a lot of track. I'm pretty sure that it's that piece there which was causing the problem. But as all the track is labelled on here, it made tracking down the problem easier once I found out where about the original problem is. So it's important to label everything up. So let's move the camera around to me again, and then we can have a bit more of a chat. So finally I've been to each piece of track, just make sure there was no debris on it and everything was clear. I ran a scalpel between the check rail. Let me get one there. I ran a scalpel through that bit there just to make sure that there was nothing in there. So I just went like that, making sure everything was clear. So the answer to the title of the thing, did I blow up my model railway? No, I didn't. Have I learnt a lot from this? Yes, I did. Can I play with my trains again? Yes, I can play with my trains. It's nice weather, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, and I can actually make progress on things. And sorting out this issue have given me a lot more energy towards the layout again. So it's been an unfortunate little while, but I have learnt so many things. I've learnt some basic things for fault finding, some improvements I want to do on any future layouts, and also for pure amount of wires. So just to give you some ideas, each block detection have 16 blocks. I run the block wire and return wire from each piece of track, so for each block there's 32 wires. That's for each block detection, there's 32 wires. There's 4 block detections, which mean that there's 128 wires. Then I got the new block detection back there, which is another 8 wires, but that's another 16, so that's 170-ish wires. Then you've got the feed wires to the block detections, and then I have a separate DCC wire running around for anything that need a DCC signal, such as for train track points, for DigiKey, light decoders. So yeah, DCC, you don't need block switches, but a layout like this does get very complicated very quickly, and it's worth knowing what you're doing. That's why I have so many different colours of wires. So I know I've said it before, I've got 4 big realms of wire, which is I can't find the label on it, but it's a thick core wire. Then I have tons of these. So my 4 main feeder wires are brown, purple, black and blue. Black and blue is track. Black is the side closest to you, blue is further away. Brown and purple, that's my 12-volt system. It's brown because that's what colour live always is. And you can think what I was going to say there. Purple is a neutral return, and purple is a neutral colour. Then I have my 16-volt system, which is brown and yellow. And that's because that's what its default colour is on, I can't remember, on Weissman electronics. Then I have red, green and yellow on points. Unless there's seeps, when it's just red and green. Then I have white on my micro switches, which is for return. So you have red and green coming in, and then white returning to the point. Actually, I got confused there. So yellow is my micro switch, white is my point. Then I have orange and yellow, which is I can't remember what that one is. That's for specialist systems. That's my new 3E volt colour. So everything have different colours so that I can see what they are. So I think I've been rambling on for long enough. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe and comment, and join me on Wednesday for my live stream at 8. And this week we should be doing for a Metcalf build. Thank you very much, Richard.